Chapter 2, Lesson 4 of Advanced Algebra, again applying these linear functions. We had a whole lesson where we looked at direct variations and the phraseology that we want to look for in a word problem. When we see the phrase varies directly, then we can look in front. That will give us our dependent variable. We can look behind it here. That will give us our independent variable. Then all we need is one value for our y and one value for our x to determine the k, and then we have our equation. The other scenario that I want to look at is when they describe the same event twice, and this really goes to then using point-slope form, something that we used before. Again, what we need to do is determine the independent and dependent variables. So as we're reading the problem, we want to look to do that. Now, a few things that will always happen in time that you just need to know, and it will help making word problem solving simpler. Time is always independent, so no matter what you read, if they're talking about something happening over a period of time, your time will always be your x, and then whatever else they're talking about will be your y. Now, 99% of the time, the item that listed second will usually be your independent variable as well. There'll always be two descriptions which will give you two ordered pairs, and then once we have two ordered pairs, you can use that to determine your slope, and then you can substitute in giving you your point slope form, and then you can solve for the dependent variable or just substitute it in depending on what's given to you. So example here there are 2 leaves along a 3-inch vine, and there are 14 leaves along a 15-inch vine. So it's describing the same thing twice. 2 leaves on 3 inches, 14 leaves on 15 inches. So what we need to do, or what's happening there, is they're actually giving me 2 ordered pairs. 2 leaves along 3 inches. Now again, normally what comes second is the independent, so I'm going to use the length of the vine as my x, because that comes second. So the length is going to be my x, and that's going to be, again, I need to always use my, or give units, that's going to be in inches. And then the number of leaves is going to be my y, okay? And that's just measured in numbers. So I'd establish that. Now as I read the problem, I know where to put my x and my y. The length is my x, 3 inches, and the number of leaves, 2, is my y. The second description here, 14 leaves, that's my y, and 15 inches, that's my x. So now I have 2 ordered pairs, and we know how to write the equation of a line with 2 ordered pairs. We've done that quite a bit. We use the 2 ordered pairs to determine our slope, and then we can substitute either one of these into my slope-intercept form, into my point-slope form, and then we want to solve it for y. So whenever we're talking about a real-world problem, we always want to solve the equation for y. We never want to leave it in point-slope form. We always want to put it in slope-intercept form. Okay? So that's how you want to read these when you see it described twice in the same way. So you use your formula, and then you can go from there and figure out the value. So we defined our variables, we use the point-slope form, and then we solve it for y, or for our dependent variable, and we have our equation. So those are some tips on how to solve these word problems. Again, this lesson's all about word problems and tackling those. So look for these keys, look for a rate of change, look for this phrase, look for 2 descriptions of the same event, or look for a table if they give you one, and then you can use the regression or use your calculator to calculate the regression from the table.